Hi everybody, my name is Julie Franks-Murray. This is my second video to be put on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook, and it's been, I don't know, 3 or so weeks since I did my first video cannonball, and I meant to come back sooner than this, but hey, better late than never. I wanted to talk to you all about something that I've been going through recently that I think you may find interesting. Recently, I took a vacation, kind of an extended vacation. I was sick, not COVID, and then took a vacation after that. So I was out of work, away from work, 2 full weeks. And it doesn't sound like a lot of time, but whenever I've taken vacation in the past, I don't take that much time together typically. And what I found for me was that I work full-time in an office. I'm an insurance agent right now. And what I found for me, being off 2 full weeks of work, it allowed me to really rest and relax in a way that my bones and my muscles just started to relax, and I began to consider in my life why I'm wound so tight and why there's always this tension in me that even sleeping, having a good night's sleep doesn't ever seem to go away. But during this 2-week time for myself, I began to truly relax. For the first time, it feels like for the first time in several years, and that's a little bit crazy. And during those spaces like that, you can have a lot of epiphanies. And my main one, and it sounds very simple, but the main thing that I came away with during that time that I want to share with you is that I have come to the conclusion that I'm willing to do what it takes now to stop doing hard. And when I say stop doing hard, I don't necessarily mean stopping doing the things of my life that require my attention. I mean the way that I interact with them, the way that I feel and think about them, the way that I consider them, and the steps I take to try to get things done and to achieve goals, big or little, on the job or personal. My best friend would laugh at this because I always say I'm kind of a perfectionist, and she always laughs like a hyena, like, no, you're a total perfectionist. And I've come to realize in the last little bit that in terms of perfectionism, I don't necessarily think, and many of you may can relate, I don't think that I require things to be perfect, but what I think I do is that I put so many steps between where I am and where I'm trying to go, with whatever the goal is. I mean, if it's to make a video, then I create all these steps, that all this stuff has to be perfect, and I have a script, or I have a great background, or, I mean, and certain things need to be the way they need to be, and I've worked a little bit with this. I'm actually down in my basement now against some forgotten wall, testing this out, and so it's all a big test, and that's kind of my point. It's a journey. This whole thing for me is a journey, and so rather than try to conceal my challenges or my struggles or my vulnerabilities or just trying something to see if it works, I'm going to share that because I think that's the human quality that can actually reach through the camera and touch us all and make us realize that it's more important to get things done that are meaningful than to wait to try to get them done at the level that maybe we have in our heads. And I don't think most people just arrive at polish and professionalism in the first few times they do something, and at this point I'm actually kind of starting to question my notion, and that goes back to not doing hard, my notion of what polish and professionalism is. I think that especially in today's world, it's more important to show up as ourselves in our authenticity and in our vulnerability, absolutely owning the fact that we know we don't know. And it's all a big experiment. And all of life is really that way. And when I was young, I did more cannonball activity. I didn't think about all of the things that could slow me down or that could go wrong, and try to mitigate everything at every moment, in every line of time, in every eventuality, to try to be prepared. And I think it's good to do your homework. I think it's good to have an idea of where you need to go and take the steps you need to take. Kind of like, I can't turn the camera around to show you the way I had this set up, but there are two lights. There's a really nice DSLR camera that I bought a few years ago. It's on a tripod. I tested out this background, and so there are things that I've done to try to make the video experience a better quality. But the point is, I'm working with what I've got right now. I'm working with what I have. And the way I've been making things hard is thinking I've got to do all these things, or have all of these things in place in order to start getting my message and myself out there, when I've just been making it hard and I've been getting in my own way. And then every time I introduce an issue or a challenge or a problem that kind of stumps me, I've let it stop the whole unfolding of all of this. And so I'm willing to show up and just be like I am, and know that I don't know, and acknowledge that I don't know. And I want you to know that it's okay for you too. I believe that the world needs for people to show up honestly, authentically, in their vulnerability. And I'm not the only person saying this. There are a lot of people out there saying this. So it's not a brand new message, but I think that we have to be willing to do that, so that we make it okay for others. We make it safer for others. We're willing to risk looking like an idiot, or people thinking, what the heck is that video even about? She just puts this drivel out there all the time. Well, you know what? Maybe it's drivel to somebody. Maybe it is drivel. I don't know. I'm just tired of sitting here being afraid of taking an action, being afraid of criticism, being afraid of it not working the way I want to. I want to just start doing at this point. I turn 50 next year. And it's something to be celebrated. It's not something I'm afraid of. It is something that sobers me. Because I ask myself, okay, this is an opportunity to ask yourself, what do you want to have done, to have tried, to have risked, even failed at, which is fine, because if you're committed to what you feel like you need to do, failure is just a learning experience. So failure is not an end, it's a blip in the journey. It really is. It's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. What are the things that I really want to have done by the time I'm 50? And the list, the serious list, really isn't that long. There are a few things, and so I write them down, and I think, okay, now you're going to have to find a way to take daily or weekly, monthly steps to make this happen, so that when you turn 50, you're going to have these accomplishments under your belt. You will have faced your unknown. You will have faced risk and the loss of control and the loss of knowing. And in that space of letting go of my tight grip and rigid sense of control, because we really don't control, but our sense of control, in letting that go, what do I create space for to come through, for a different outcome to happen? Most of my goals, my things I want to have done before I'm 50, are creative goals. I would like to finish, finally, the first draft of my fantasy novel. It's been going on a long time. I would like to finish that first draft. I would like to have an Etsy shop up and selling things on Etsy, my art. I would like to have an online course about birthright, your own soul's birthright of being in your own power and being the human authority of your own life. These are subjects that are close to my heart: creativity, sovereignty, and the spiritual life. I want to create work around that. And so for those of you who know me and you're sweet enough to be my subscribers, or you're sweet enough to watch the video, curious, maybe, wondering if it's going to be a car crash, I appreciate you being here with me. I really do. As I find my footing, I find the way to put my voice out there in a way that really touches people, because I'm not just interested in adding my voice to the din and clamor of everything out there. I want whatever is honest and authentic and human and encouraging to touch you and to touch others, to encourage them, to encourage you, to start in a small way, not in a hard way, going for the things that mean the most to you, and not having to have those great big wins that in your mind you think, well, if I could just do this, then I would feel like I accomplished it. And those visions, those dreams and ideas are good to have, but how do we start to break those things down today, into bite-sized pieces where they're humane and there's sanity in the goal, the pursuit of the goal, where it's something that we can do today, it's something we can do this week that puts us closer and closer to where we want to be a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. I'm not one of these people that think that's just on this endless track of productivity or accomplishment or all these hacks that make me have all of these things under my belt. I just want to find a way to, with energy and with soul and with honesty and with authenticity, pursue the things that are most important to me, and to start a dialogue and a conversation with you all about what that looks like for me, in the hopes that maybe you'll be inspired to take similar steps for your own dreams and your own goals, and to make the changes that you need to make for your own sanity inside of a really insane world. And when I say insane, I'm not trying to be judgmental or flippant. I literally mean there is a way to be honest and present about what our challenges are and our sabotaging patterns, and to talk through those things and our wounds and what we think gets in our way, in order to really try to make changes, positive changes in the future. And there's a way to continue living in not those things that just makes everything harder and puts us out of touch with our authentic soul. And so when I say sane, I mean the steps that you can take to be present and honest. And though we all have elements of victimization in our lives that happen to us, that we don't get stuck in victim identity, that we take steps to cut those chains off of us, to morph and transform continually into people that reach for their own personal God-given power in any situation. So, I really guess that's all I wanted to say in this video, and just to encourage you to really maybe look at your life and how you meet your life, how you tell your stories to yourself about how your life goes, that may be making the actual circumstances harder. What is a story we keep telling ourselves? Like my story. Well, in order to have an online course, I've got to climb Mount Everest and go to the center of the universe and pull myself through the keyhole of the universe and accomplish all of these triathlon, cosmic triathlon. No, I'm sorry. No. That is a type of insanity that makes everything harder. I'm just going to show up and show up and show up in front of this camera and put myself out there on the internet as myself, with my first fumbling steps, not really knowing what I'm doing exactly, but knowing I'm going in the general right direction, trying to connect by being me, and trying to be inspiring to you and encouraging to you more than inspiring, to reach for your own dreams in a way that you can accomplish ongoing, in a way that brings consciousness and humaneness and kindness to you, while inspiring you to go for what it is you want in your life. And when I say not do it in a way that it's not hard, I'm not doing hard anymore, I don't mean that I don't do my due diligence, that I shirk my responsibilities. I just mean more in the stories of what I'm telling myself. something takes before I can go from A to B. There's a lot of story in that. There's a lot of weight and personal history in that. There's a lot of wound in that. There's a lot of spinning. There's a lot of habit forming. And I'm getting to a place of being done with all of that drama, the personal drama that stands between me and what I want. And I want to be an encouragement to you that I'll put myself out there and I'll show my road to reaching for what I want, and hopefully you can see some of your own struggles and my struggles and have a laugh, because I like to laugh, and I will be laughing, and we'll just go on the journey together.